Baby. That was last week.
Mm-hmm.
That was last week?
I don't know.
Alright, 20 seconds.
28. Hello, darkness.
There's light!
There's light.
Let there be lights.
What's up, guys and gals? Welcome to Sports Entertainment Tonight right here on AOC and WGS-TV. I am your friendly neighborhood Russell Gamer Double B, along with Nick Nene, because he makes all the ladies say...
Nayday.
Mayday.
But anyways, on the 8th day, God created wrestling.
Yeah. And Hulk Hogan came out with his 40 Pac Don's brother and leg dropped, big boot
And
leg
this
drop.
is Mark, the
Snake.
Smart Troll, huh? Mark, how you doing?
Very good, very good.
Watch out.
Well, we got a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about on this week's episode, including breaking down the Backlash pay-per-view, which is going to be this Sunday, and of course, updating a couple of stories.
And a big shout out to Pop, by the way, who helped
Yeah.
us set up tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big shout out. Thank you very much for all your help. A quick question to Jacob. Do we have reliable phone lines this week? Okay, so we have no phone lines again for the second week in a row.
Which explains why we got no calls from Higher Thought earlier on.
I can tell you that. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm sure you had some calls in the queue. I'm sure those people are happy.
Well, sure.
Well, guys,
only
it
said
looks
the
like
number
for the
like
second
10
week in a
times.
row, if you guys want to talk to us, you're going to have to talk to us via the chat here on youtube.com/RussellGamer. So, again, if you guys want to have anything to say, again, we apologize for no phones again this week. But anyway, let's start off the show this week, gentlemen, with an update about last week's show, something we talked about. On last week's show, we talked about Vince Russo's comments about Kevin Owens and what my personal response was to it.
And then he block you.
Yeah, then he blocked me. Kevin Owens responded to Russo and had this to say on the Main Event Radio podcast this week. He said, quote, "As far as Vince Russo is concerned, I don't think he meant a single word of what he said. I think he says all of it just to get attention. I think he knows how good I am and that me being the champion is a great move. He's just trying to rile people up." There is some truth to that, Nick, to what Owens had to say, considering the fact that I myself got kind of riled up last week.
Well, surely, and Vince Russo has been kind of irrelevant for a while now, and he probably
Yeah.
wants to get in the spotlight a little bit. Well, I mean, what do you think, Mark?
I think so too, because he still thinks I've been in the Attitude Era. I did
Right.
TNA. I helped out TNA.
But he did all that with Vince McMahon kind of cracking the whip on him, you
Yeah.
know, so, and telling him no.
Or critiquing her like, this is not going to work. This is not going to work.
Right, and he didn't have
Yeah.
anybody doing that in TNA or WCW,
Yeah.
Which explains why David Arquette was a WCW champion.
and he
Yeah.
still defends that.
And
Exactly.
And Oklahoma was a cruiserweight champion.
Oh, I forgot about that.
But yeah, it was pretty interesting. I mean, I personally, I've been saying it for months that I see a world champ in Kevin Owens, and it's happened. Kind of just it was the dominoes falling over after the Roman Reigns suspension, Finn Balor getting hurt, Kevin Owens was the right person, the right time. And I mean, anytime you got Triple H backing you, and he's your guy, then you're gonna go far.
It's very interesting you bring up the notion of Triple H because of the fact about what happened on last week's Monday Night Raw, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't remember, Raw left on a major cliffhanger with Triple H helping Kevin Owens to win the Universal Championship.
One of the best main events in years.
Yeah, and also turn on Seth Rollins. Now, when you leave a show on such a huge cliffhanger, one would almost expect that they want to tune in and find out, why, storyline-wise, did Triple H do that?
Sure.
And did WWE actually follow up with that? No.
Well, they did follow up with it as far as the storyline, in that Stephanie wasn't involved in it. Apparently, I think you're going to see Triple H at Clash of Champions.
One segment backstage, and that's all we got.
Well, and they confronted her on the ring too.
I didn't
But I think you're going to see Triple H at Clash of Champions helping Kevin Owens retain against
Exactly.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, which would actually aid to the pending storyline of Seth Rollins and Triple H, which will more than
Survivor
likely,
Series.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's not the chosen one anymore,
Exactly, and that was one of the things I had said earlier this week on YouTube. But gentlemen, let's go to Raw and let's talk about some of the things we liked and some of the things that we didn't like. And one thing I definitely want to bring up with you guys is how good was Sasha Banks' promo Monday night and how well she worked the crowd into believing that she was going to retire due to injury or at least miss a lot of time due to injury. She really played up the crowd really well.
She played up people backstage. I heard she has a internet. I heard from the dirt sheets that she has heat in the locker room that she made it too realistic, and they pretty much got mad because Daniel Bryan, his injury, and with T.J. Wilson, Tyson Kidd's injury, nobody liked it. But somebody brought up the Mark Henry, a few years ago with his retirement.
That was one of the best Mark Henry promos he's ever done.
Oh,
and
sure.
he says at the end, "That's what I do."
Oh, definitely. And, if anything, what I wondered was if she was only going to be out for 2 weeks with this supposed injury, why drop the title? Why give up your momentum like that? Because, I think that they took the title off of her due to the fact that she wanted some time off because of her injuries.
Or maybe she just...
Why drop the title then, Sasha Banks? I guess maybe to get Bayley involved or...
But, gentlemen, did you notice that after Sasha Banks hit the bank statement, as she was leaving the ring, she was holding the small of her back as she was getting out of the ring? She's still some lingering problems with her back.
Well, and that leads us to the question of who is Charlotte going to face at Clash of Champions? Because Sasha Banks said, well, I want my rematch, but Bayley beat her on Monday Night Raw. So,
yeah.
So it's kind of a matter of, are they going to have a triple threat? Is it going to be Bayley? Is it going to be Sasha?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me eerily of a storyline that they were doing when Charlotte was the NXT Women's Champion.
Definitely.
And they had Sasha Banks and Bayley both vying for the title. And they did have a triple threat match for that title. No, I think it was a fatal four-way because it was her, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Becky Lynch that were involved in a fatal four-way for the NXT Women's Championship, and Charlotte was one who came out on top of that in that exchange.
That's true.
So it reminds me so much of that storyline. And you know what? If they did go the route of the triple threat for Backlash, I would not object to it. Because those are three of your top women's talent in WWE right now. But as I say that, considering what happened at SummerSlam and how terrible that match was.
Well, and Raw is actually down one diva because Paige quit WWE today.
It's official?
It's official. She
Yeah,
quit
her man.
WWE. And she has hired legal representation. So...
Yeah.
It's just a whole mess, and it's really such a shame because Paige is such an incredible talent in WWE, and WWE.
Corey, that's your girl.
Yeah, wish we could talk to you, Corey, but we ain't got no phone lines for the
Yeah,
second week
but
in a row.
I think she's making a bad mistake in her career. I think, and she's 24,
She's
24,
immature, yeah. She's
immature, and it's her hormones. And
she's mad that WWE tried to break her and Alberto Del Rio up.
Isn't it Alberto Del Rio married and has kids?
I think he was going through a divorce, maybe.
Yeah, but do you think that she made a hasty decision into leaving the biggest wrestling company in the United States, in the world almost?
I believe
all
so.
over a relationship?
Although, Total Divas season's coming up, so it might just be a shoot. You never know as far as Total Divas is concerned.
Or they might just edit her out the show.
Right. But we did see Bo Dallas get a match against a jobber.
Kyle Roberts was his name.
Yeah, and but ultimately the main reason they had that match, from what I hear, is because they're promoting Bo Dallas to wrestle a big match in China against one of their major stars, and so they air select matches from Raw in China. So they're promoting Bo Dallas. They don't know who that he sucks over here, so they're promoting him to look good to where he can.
I don't think he sucks. It's just his character sucks.
Well,
Which would explain if you kind of noticed that it was kind of a different gimmick for Bo.
It was
kind of
campaigning.
Campaigning dark type. Because as soon as the bell rang, it was like that for Bo Dallas. So
it went quick.
So they're really going to put him through mostly talent enhancement matches for the next several weeks and leading into that match. And not only that, but also see if this new gimmick will stick with the universe. And that's probably one of the best ways to do it, is to have them go through talent enhancement matches and see how well the gimmick goes over with the crowd.
Sure. I thought one of the highlights of the night was Chris Jericho against Seth Rollins.
How about that reaction when they made the announcement backstage to Chris Jericho that he had to face Seth Rollins? How great was that face?
Oh,
that was perfect.
Jericho
right
and Kevin Owens have been knocking it out of the park as far as their comedy. You know, those two guys are on fire right now.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt about that.
And like how Chris Jericho is, he still got it, and he can put on like.
Oh, definitely, and he reinvents himself every time he comes back. So I think that's awesome.
He's the Ayatollah, a rock and roller baby.
But ultimately, we saw a pretty good match between Jericho and Seth Rollins. Rollins with the title match coming, obviously went over on Jericho.
Pedigree.
With the pedigree, which now that Triple H has turned on him, he needs a new finisher.
Well, not necessarily.
Or maybe wrestle Triple H for the move.
Well, not necessarily, because one of the things I said on YouTube earlier this week is they could keep the move on Seth Rollins as a jab towards Triple H, which would lead to Triple H being seething, being angry at Seth Rollins.
That's why have them pedigree each other.
Yeah, and then they could have him come out and interrupt the match and cost Seth Rollins the title like that.
Right.
That's my move.
You know, if I was booking WWE, that's the way I would do it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you guys what, a lot of WWE is predictable, but I would not have predicted Sheamus would be up 3-0 in this best of 7.
And I have an update to that. There was a live event in London. If my news...
Right, and they're having their 4th match there, which of course Cesaro's got to win.
No, he did. He did win the. He won the match, and it looks like they're gonna really extend. So that way, the last match will fit in the timeline for Clash of the Champions.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Know.
So they
So
have.
I'm thinking it's got to go to 7 matches, so Cesaro will win the next 3.
Yeah. So Cesaro won in London, so now it's 3-1.
3-1. Okay. We saw the Shining Stars, which is never that fun. But they did a little promo, I guess, selling their timeshares in Puerto Rico.
What the hell was Enzo and Cass doing on Raw?
Yeah, Enzo and Cass. Doing their thing. And having their usual match where...
Enzo's having a baby?
Enzo was having a baby. An invisible baby, kind of like this.
Yeah, you know, it's
But the only time on AOC you hear somebody say somebody had an invisible baby.
Enzo Aborto. Let's see.
I can't look at you after that one.
Enzo Aborto. Which, speaking of which, like, isn't Enzo and Cass's matches always the same? Like, it's just Enzo starting the match, getting dominated, making the hot tag to Cass. Cass cleans house. You know,
That's kind of the dynamic of it.
That's what they do every time.
I hear hater.
What do I got here, hater?
I hate it. I hate it.
Nia Jax against another jobber. Which actually, just to finish that one up, Shining Stars won on a roll-up.
I'll be her enhancement talent.
Yeah.
But Nia Jax, you would be Nia Jax's enhancement talent, huh?
Yeah.
Male enhancement,
Yeah.
right?
Forget that. How about Nia Jax's opponent and then Daisy Duke Shorts?
And
Yeah,
Esposito,
bing,
who
bing,
was
bing.
apparently Alicia Fox's friend.
What the hell was that with Alicia Fox on Monday Night
Which
Raw?
I think Alicia Fox accidentally threw that box and hit Nia Jax in the face, and she was like, "Oh, sorry," you know, and then like tried to play it off. You know, it was some pretty horrible acting. They're setting up Nia Jax to have her first real opponent
what is it, mix-up,
against
make a
Alicia
box, or-
Fox at Clash of Champions.
Notice how you said that. Her first real opponent in Alicia Fox.
Right. Or some first diva on the roster, or woman on the roster. Gallows and Anderson continue with their horrible comedy, in my opinion. You like it, Billy. You like the Doctor.
Day.
But this week it was not good. Old Day.
How much sagginess did they give old Big E in his pectorals? It was going down to his knees.
Well, and the crowd totally was not into it at all.
I thought it was hilarious.
Well, I mean, in the arena. I mean, it seemed
Kind of
like
shows
it
you
was
what kind of
crickets.
sense of humor I have.
Right, they did the whole geriatric gag with the Old Day. I think it kind of fell on its face flat, like it was kind of a flop. New Day interrupted. They kind of made fun, did the who?
And I said, we can't meet each other because we don't mess with the
Yeah, the timeline,
That's timeline.
time paradox, and stuff like that.
But the guys that were playing them,
Then they ended up jumping the old day, right? Which is like the good guys jumping the old geezers was kind of like I don't know, that doesn't
Well,
really
if you
doesn't put over New Day at all.
New Day rocks.
It's just a comedic segment. That's pretty much what it is.
Right? Yeah, poor one in my opinion, but different strokes, different folks. How about Jinder Mahal? He hadn't really won a match. He went against Darren Young, who I think they're still prolonging this Darren Young Titus O'Neil feud.
It gives me a headache thinking about it.
But Darren Young got a win with the Gut Buster. And then Titus O'Neil and him kind of got into it after.
That I did like because it added some intensity and added some fire into what I called on YouTube earlier this week a rather bleak and bland storyline.
Surely. And then a good brawl always helps.
Yes, it does.
Let's see. Braun Strowman had his first real opponent against Sin Cara.
What was that music Sin Cara came out to? It's like he's had 3 different themes now in WWE. He's had the one he debuted
He's
with.
actually at 4 now.
Yeah, because you also have to count the Lucha Dragons theme.
Right.
Lucha.
And now, whatever they had on Monday Night Raw, it's like generic lucha music.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then it seemed as though they built Sin Cara to be kind of a jobber. He had new music. He tried to use his quickness, but Braun Strowman pretty much just crushed him outside. They kept it, to where they didn't bury Sin Cara with a count out, which I like. That's old school. Don't bury Sin Cara. So you mentioned Sasha Banks promo. Good stuff. Dana Brooke came in and interrupted, got her with the bank statement. Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens. This
Main
match,
event. I loved it.
I didn't have the fire that they normally have. I mean, mainly for me it was because the ending, but these two are awesome. They had the great chemistry.
It should be the next, pay-per-view. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Sami Zayn eventually will get his title shot.
He's continuing to play up on the ankle injury he had a couple of weeks ago. I think in a match with Jericho, if I'm not mistaken.
And it kind of makes Sami Zayn look soft when he looks almost like he's injured every match.
Yeah, but he's selling it though. Some
He
people
does
wouldn't
sell it, but it's like you're selling an injury every match, like you're kind of a hurdy. And I don't know. I mean, that's just how I kind of
Leave
perceive
Sami
it.
Zayn alone.
But the real news of this match,
Leave Sami Zayn alone.
After
he's
Owens,
gonna be under a blanket. He's gonna be crying. Leave Sami Zayn alone.
which Sami said it himself. He ever since he beat Kevin Owens at Battleground, he hasn't really done anything, and Kevin Owens is the world champion. You know, so. But the real story in this match was after Kevin Owens won, Roman Reigns came out. Kevin Owens leave. Y2J tried to save him. But they're going to have a match next week. Kevin Owens against Roman Reigns. And if Reigns wins, it becomes a triple threat at Clash of Champions.
Incidentally, with that segment, what happened after Monday Night Raw went off the air,
Yeah.
Seth Rollins came in and made the save for Roman Reigns.
The Shield's coming back, y'all.
Or half the shield.
Believe that.
Come on.
We're missing one.
Believe that.
Believe that.
Sorry, I forgot.
I'm Dean Ambrose.
So, real quick, let's just run through the matches that I think we got on the Clash of Champions card, and then we'll get into our Backlash SmackDown universe. So, world title, it's looking like universal title, excuse me. Kevin Owens, the champion, against Seth Rollins, possibly Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Let's see, tag team titles is going to be New Day versus The Club. And we'll get into predictions a couple weeks on that. U.S. title, and Rusev right now doesn't have an opponent. However, I'm thinking he's going to keep Roman Reigns from winning.
Yeah, because there are 2 possible scenarios that can happen on next week's Monday Night Raw. Either Roman Reigns wins and gets into the Universal Championship match, or Rusev comes back and costs Roman Reigns the match, and therefore we get
news their feud because SummerSlam didn't end.
Yeah, there was no definitive
match.
end. Yeah,
so I think that's a good possibility. Women's title, Charlotte against Sasha Banks or Bayley, or maybe both. Sheamus against Cesaro, possibly in the 7th match.
Yeah.
Nia Jax against Alicia Fox. Titus O'Neil against Darren Young.
Can that please be the last match?
Hopefully
They
so.
need to be back being taxed.
I'm thinking maybe Enzo and Cass against the Shining Stars again.
Yeah.
The cruiserweight, maybe Kota Ibushi against Grand Metalik or something. Maybe have a cruiserweight match of some kind. Jericho, maybe against Roman Reigns, even. If Rusev doesn't come out next week, what about Neville? What about Sami Zayn? What about Braun Strowman? So we'll see what kind of happens.
I don't think Braun Strowman will have a match because of the fact that he's basically just been squashing people.
Well, so is Nia Jax, but she had a real. She started a feud. with
Yeah, but
Alicia
Braun
Fox.
Strowman hasn't started a feud yet, so I don't think he can really have a match with anybody.
Like with who though?
But they
But
can start
if
a
they
feud
just-
next week.
Or they could just still have him go on Clash of the Champions and just squash somebody.
Squash like somebody on the roster. Squash who else is on Raw? That
Tom Phillips.
like Jack Swagger or something.
I haven't seen Swagger in months.
Yeah, I mean SmackDown could really use Jack Swagger right now. Because
Yeah.
they have no mid card in SmackDown.
Yeah.
Okay, but getting into SmackDown, which actually my dad called me about 6:30, and he lives in Nebraska. It was in Lincoln, Nebraska, and he happened to be right there. And he saw like the John Cena 18-wheeler, and so he called me and was like, "Hey, they're right there." But you know what's been really bothering me about SmackDown, guys?
What's that?
It seems like Daniel Bryan is the star of the show, and that's kind of a problem for me because you're a general manager, buddy. So
No.
take the
No.
background, Daniel Bryan. I mean, like you start off every week of the show. Then you're on, like you have at least 1 or 2 segments during the show. Then you're on Talking Smack right after. And it's like Daniel Bryan's kind of hogging the airtime a little bit.
In a sense, yeah. I would have to agree with you on that one. But, when you're promoting the six-pack challenge for the new SmackDown Women's Championship,
I guess you need your general manager.
Yeah, to be the moderator of the forum. And I got to say, in that opening segment, I really enjoyed it.
Sure.
I'm not surprised that it would break down the way it did. I got to say, I loved how Becky Lynch played off that. Becky Lynch did an amazing job playing off of that, playing off the heels. In that
Alexa
group.
Bliss really had a good one. I mean, she came out on fire, and they had some good back and forth bickering between the women.
Oh, yeah.
But they kind of set up this rematch from SummerSlam with the 6-woman tag match.
Except for 2 things being flipped. This time, Nikki Bella is on
Right.
the face team, and Carmella is on the heel team.
Right, they did a little double turn. We also saw another SummerSlam rematch with Miz and Apollo Crews. And I was talking to Mark about this earlier on. Just like, man, they're doing a great job building Slater's character with all the kids. Heath Slater, with all the kids, all the background. Man, they need to do something like that for Apollo Crews, for Baron Corbin. Give them something of a storyline and a character, But anyways, Apollo Crews is good in the ring, but it's just like, who are you?
Really no character to Apollo Crews. But I'm a little bit disappointed with WWE Creative because they had a really good opportunity to do something with The Miz after that shoot promo he did
He was
with
on
Daniel
fire.
Bryan.
Everybody wanted to tune in the next week to see what Miz was going to do.
And it just fizzled out.
Right.
Yeah.
They tried to put it on Dolph
Maurice
Ziggler.
is still hot, though.
Maurice is still hot. But Apollo Crews, athletic guy. Ziggler was good on commentary. It was kind
as
of one
always.
of those generic endings where Miz ended up hitting Dolph Ziggler in the commentary. And that distracted Apollo Crews. You got the skull-crushing finale, and then they kind of, fought afterwards. Like Dolph was carrying his title, and Miz made Maurice go get it. So we are going to see Miz against Dolph Ziggler at Backlash, and we'll get to our predictions, I guess, toward the end of the show.
Yeah.
If you're watching, tune in for the predictions.
Again, we do apologize for no phone lines. Hopefully next week we'll have them.
Yep. But you can bet on this, folks. I mean, and I would bet on our picks because we're usually right about 80-90% of the time at least. But next was that 6-woman tag match, which I found they had a lot of backstage segments during and videos. And it was really big on the Connor Cure this week.
Is it Raw or SmackDown?
Well, I mean, they just had a lot of backstage segments. But in the women's tag match, the heels went over. Man, Naomi has a big old booty.
Yeah. We saw it in person, too.
But,
Yeah,
and we'll get into our predictions for that 6-woman tag match. They made it an elimination match now, which I think will help. But, Nikki is hot, too. I think she's probably one of my favorite as far as, like, looks.
And Cena gets to bang her.
Well, that's true, and
Fun
Jimmy
to-
Uso gets to get Naomi, so.
Yeah, that booty.
Usos against America Alpha. This was a big news.
Yeah. It's a turn.
Yeah, a double
Usos.
turn after a 30-second match. They had the Usos turn heel. And there's been a lot of mixed reactions to it. There have been a lot of people who will say that we need a top heel tag team because right now who is the top heel tag team on SmackDown. We really can't say.
Or
The
yeah.
Vaudevillains.
Vaudevillains. What does that say?
Ascension.
Yeah. So we really don't have a good top solid team to be your heel team on SmackDown. So I can understand the timing of it, and not only that, but the direction they're going by taking out American Alpha before the finals, because the way it was set up, and what a lot of people are saying is it looked like it was going to be way too obvious. They're going to put the titles on American Alpha.
Didn't I say that last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now what they're doing is they're going to have a rematch at Backlash between the Usos. Well, another match between the Usos and the Hype Bros, and the winner of that match goes on to face Rhino and Heath Slater. And I think they wanted to keep Rhino and Heath Slater as faces in the tournament because Slater has been
He's
hugely over.
Yeah, he's way over.
Yeah,
So I think what they're doing right there is more than likely, since they had that move, they're going to put the titles on Slater and Rhino, much to the chagrin of a lot of fans out there who don't like that move. But, you know, if they want to keep Slater on TV.
they're over there.
Yeah. If you want to continue the story of Heath Slater and all of his kids, and I put that up in quotation marks, obviously kids, then you got to have him win the titles. It's the only way to keep him on TV.
Which, what if we've been seeing a lot of promos for him, but Heath Slater mentioned how he's won the tag team titles. Who was it that he was tag team champion with?
Justin Gabriel, David Otunga.
Yeah.
And wasn't he he was at least a tag team with Kurt Hawkins, was he not?
No.
No, that was Zack Ryder.
Yeah, the Edge heads.
Oh, well, Zack Ryder, that's what I meant. What did I say?
You said Kurt Hawkins.
Well, I know, but Zack Ryder.
With Heath Slater.
Oh, Heath Slater. No, I meant with Zack Ryder.
Slater King!
So Zack Ryder had mentioned how he had been tag team champions before. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking you might maybe see, and I was really kind of more predicting for the Intercontinental title match, you might see an interference from Kurt Hawkins maybe. Or some kind of distraction or debut or something.
But what are they going to put Kurt Hawkins in? They need a mid-card, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely need mid-card.
And Kurt Hawkins would be a good opponent for the Miz. He'd be like, I'll sort of stay in time as you're a joke or you're not an A-lister.
Right,
So,
which, who was it? Jeff Hardy. No, it was Matt Hardy. Accused.
Broken Matt Hardy.
Yeah, accused.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Kurt Hawkins of ripping off his character.
Well, not exactly Kurt Hawkins, but McMahon.
Meek Mahan.
Meek Mahan.
Which aren't they doing a second final deletion, a tag team match?
Yeah,
or
I think they
something?
it happened tonight. It was called Delete or Decay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Delete or Decay. Which,
And I've seen some of the promo videos for it. I'm like, what the hell?
it's the Sharknado of wrestling, folks.
Oh.
Check it
Brother
out.
Nero. Somebody made like a little
The
pill
Sharknado,
box.
the one series that will never die.
Yeah.
It's worse than like Crows of the Corner.
How about Fandango?
Oh my
He
god.
was trying to get that lady. What's with all these like random fans being in the ring? Like they had the guy in his whitey tighties last weekend trying to wrestle, and there've been Kane segments. Now they got Fandango with the lady dancing, and Kane comes out. They had the Go Big Red chants because they're in Nebraska, and even did a quick little dance after he chokeslammed him.
Yeah, a little bit of Fandango in right there.
I'm thinking you're gonna get to see Kane go against Baron Corbin. They crossed each other last
But
week.
they didn't do something with Baron Corbin. Like, I have an idea, like, Baron Corbin's like a lone bikeman and, like, some bikers want to be gang
That's
with
kind of
him.
what they were doing in NXT. He rode his bike out to a couple matches.
Yeah, very early on, but they since stopped that.
Well, it's kind of a rip off of the Undertaker.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But it'd be different.
But they even had it in his promos, which is why when you hear his entrance theme, it starts with the motorcycle.
Yep. So there was that. As you mentioned in the second round, Hype Brothers went against Slater and Rhino.
Yeah, woo woo woo.
Woo woo, and kind of the same thing. Slater got dominated, and then Rhino makes a tag and gets the gore for the win.
Gore!
But it's an underdog story. People are liking Slater. Yeah, they're giving him a funny character. They had his 9 kids or 7 kids ringside. They're all redheads.
And I believe during commercial break, because they have it as a special on WWE's YouTube channel, they actually introduced the kids to the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
Was it like Billy Bob?
I didn't watch it yet.
one of the girls had no tongue, and he was going to get her a tongue.
What?
Yeah. Baby, I'm gonna get you. She's born out of tongue. She's born out of tongue. We'll get you. Daddy wins the tag team titles. We will get you.
And, above ground pool. And we're gonna get a double wide. Right now we're in a single wide.
Yeah, West Virginia.
It's funny stuff.
We're in the General League.
Hey, if you're gonna be racist to whites.
Yeah.
So, I thought Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles had a good little face-off before Backlash too. AJ's gotten much better at his talking since he's gotten to the WWE.
And talking trash to
with
John
it, in my
Cena.
opinion. He was always good with
And
it.
talking trash to John Cena.
Yeah, I agree. And he's just a pro, man. AJ Styles is wrestling, and that's kind of and that leads us to our predictions. I almost think we're gonna have a new world champion.
Chris says hi in the chat room.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
But yeah, SmackDown actually went off air with AJ Styles hitting a low blow on Dean Ambrose, and it was simple but effective.
It's payback for the the rope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but traditional wrestling logic dictates that whenever the challenger goes over, like Styles went over on your go-home show, then 9 times out of 10 he won't not be going over at the pay-per-view.
well, it's possible, very possible that it might end in controversy in the feud.
It's a swerve, bro.
And the feud continues. But let's run through our Backlash card here.
Before you do that, as you do that, I should say, I actually have the odds from eWrestlingNews.com on each match. So when you start a match, I'll give you the odds if I can read it correctly.
Okay. Should we start from top to bottom or bottom to top?
Let's do bottom to top.
All right. Well, Baron Corbin against Kane has not been announced yet.
Nope.
Baron Corbin was feuding with Kalisto, who apparently got hurt. However, Kane crossed paths with Kane last week.
Chris says Nick has white privilege.
White privilege all day with my white shirt.
Yeah.
Would that mean
After Labor Day.
Would that mean I have blue privilege, or Rick and Morty privilege?
Yeah.
There you go. White privilege. Yep, that white dude on his TV show.
And Mark has purple privilege.
Yep.
Yeah, purple.
Suck it. Anyways, so we got Dean Ambrose. Well, no, we were talking about Baron Corbin and Kane. Kane is. When's the last time he won an important match?
I can't really recall.
They're
Yeah,
like
so
4 or 5
Kane
years.
is older, just like Big Show. He's here to put over people.
And he's good at it.
He's
But we
good.
got we haven't seen any more of an indication of whether or not Baron Corbin and Kane are actually going to happen. So which is why we're kind of considering it a maybe.
Maybe, yeah. But as of right now, other than that, they've only got 5 matches on the card.
Yeah.
And it's, is it going to be a 2-hour pay-per-view? Or, because NXT does 5 matches on their card.
I think yes, because of the fact that we're going to be having 2 pay-per-views a month, with the exception of the Big 4. So
I still think Raw's going to be 3 hours. I think it's going to be kind of just like their shows.
in a sense.
Because, SmackDown doesn't have a very thick roster.
Yeah, considering the fact it's only a 2-hour show every week.
Sure. Well, and they don't have the card, they don't have the wrestlers to have a 3-hour card.
Which
Unless it's going to be like
explains-
30-minute matches.
Yeah.
Which explains why we have only 5 matches. But considering like one of the matches is a 6-pack challenge, it could go a good distance.
Right. Yeah, and it's a 6-pack elimination. You've got kind of the tag tournament thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to get at least 30 minutes out of AJ Styles, Ambrose, and Wyatt and Orton.
Yes.
The card will fill itself up.
Chris says, look at his shoestrings. What about your shoestrings?
They're white.
Privilege. My shoestrings are white, and they're about my privilege.
Chris, are you okay?
He's just ribbing.
Are you kind of like in Joker Sting mode?
Yeah.
Joker Sting mode.
Know your TNA history, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so how about the tag? We're going first off, I imagine if they do have a pre-show, we will see the Hype Brothers go against the Usos, and the winner faces Slater and Rhino.
If I was booking it, I would put it as that because not only will you get the matchup out of the way quickly when the show starts, but then it gives them time to whatever team, and more than likely, I would say the Usos will probably be the ones to go over in that match.
Surely.
And kind of give them an adequate amount of time to kind of rest up a little bit, maybe like an hour or so, and have that finals match at that time.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, getting to the finals match. Usos, who we all, I guess, agree that the Usos are going to win that round, to go on and face Heath Slater and Rhino. Are we going to see more of the same as far as Heath Slater getting dominated, then Rhino coming in and making a gore?
Yeah.
Or do the Usos, with their new turn and momentum, win the tag titles?
I don't know. According to the odds here on eWrestlingNews.com, they have Slater and Rhino at under 250 with the whoever the winner is going to be at a plus 165, which I think would be the over-under, I would think. I don't know really how to read betting odds.
Which, I mean, like, if you are trying to put over American Alpha and having them feud with Usos, they can do one of two things. They can have it be an undercard feud, then have Heath Slater and Rhino do his thing, or have the Usos win the tag titles, then feud with American Alpha afterwards, with it culminating at Survivor Series.
Yeah, but it goes back to something I said earlier. If they want to keep Heath Slater on television, and since he's really gotten superbly over
Right.
with the crowd, the only way to do that, if you remember the stipulation, if Slater wins the tag team title tournament, he gets a contract.
Oh, I'm with you. I think Slater and Rhino win.
Yeah, so that's my pick as well.
Mark?
I think Usos.
Oh, you're going
Usos.
against the
I
grain.
can see the logic in it, and then having
Yeah.
them feud for the tag team titles with the American Alpha, who got screwed over by them.
Yeah.
So that takes us to our women's title match. A 6-pack elimination, and we can kind of just predict who we think even will get eliminated
Yeah,
first.
your favorite Nikki Bella.
Well, let me read you the odds and see if that'll help you. On eWrestlingNews.com, they have Nikki Bella at under 120, Becky Lynch over 115, Natalya over 300, Alexa Bliss over 500, Carmella and Naomi are both over 1,000. So that's their odds.
They really don't think Naomi will win, huh?
Mm,
Which I kind of like Naomi and her new gimmick and that big old booty she got. But I've been known to have a little swirl here and there. A little.
no comment.
Yeah. Anyways, I think Alexa Bliss probably gets eliminated first. I think that they're going to have a side feud between Nikki Bella and Carmella, so that eliminates them two. Natalya.
Not necessarily, because of the fact that they could still feud with them, and it could be over the SmackDown Women's Championship. There is that possibility.
Carmella's not ready for that.
Well, not really.
But that's kind of the same scenario as the tag champions right now. But I agree with Mark, what he said earlier. Becky Lynch, it's her time. She's the main face of the SmackDown Women's Division, other than Nikki Bella, of course.
Yeah, and they constantly put her over. She even does it in her promos as the top female draft pick on SmackDown.
It's her turn. It's her turn. So I think you see Becky Lynch here. And the question would be, who does she feud with after this? I'm thinking Alexa Bliss, because the Natalya feud is played out between them two. They've been feuding all year.
And it really hasn't gone anywhere, to be honest.
Well, and Natalia's still learning her ways as a heel. She's just kind of seems harmless,
If she's still learning her ways as a heel, she needs to learn quick, because she's been in the company for quite some time.
Well, she's always been a baby face.
Well, not necessarily. When the Hart Dynasty
Well, she
debuted.
was basically a lackey,
A valet.
A valet, that's what I was going for. How about the Intercontinental Championship? We got The Miz. We got Dolph Ziggler, who can't seem to ever win the big one.
The odds on here from eWrestling News, they have Miz at under 530 and Dolph Ziggler over 350.
Miz is going to win in the never-ending title reign, or whatever he's calling it.
He might beat the Honky Tonk Mans.
I think that's one of the things he said he wanted to do.
Right, and I could definitely see that happening.
But he's going to need to hold that title for another year at best.
Well, I mean, it would be like, because Honky Tonk held it like 2 years, just about.
Some like that. And he lost it in SummerSlam of 1988 to the Ultimate Warrior.
Who's going to be the next guy?
In 8 seconds, I believe.
Go on and give me an opponent out here. I don't care who it is. Don't say that.
Yeah.
I think we all agree Miz retains the title here, and Dolph goes back to the drawing board. I would like to see a Dolph turn. They need more heels on SmackDown. more mid-card and main event heels. Let's see. Oh, I'm really excited about the two main events. One of them being Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt.
Note to Chris, Goldust is not on SmackDown.
He is actually on Raw, but he hasn't been getting much airtime lately.
Yeah.
Quick summary on Raw for Miss Casey's class.
Well, we actually...
What?
That's his wife, pretty much.
Oh.
And she has a wrestling fan in her.
Yeah.
But we just did our Raw review,
Yeah.
in the beginning of the show, and so it takes a
quickly,
while.
the odds for Orton
Kevin
and Bray,
Owens beat Sami Zayn.
Yeah. The odds they have on here for Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, they have Orton at under 195 and Bray Wyatt over 155.
I would like to see Bray Wyatt win here. They both could use the win because Orton was coming back. He got crushed by Lesnar.
That was a horrible match, in my opinion.
It was. We all know that. But, I mean, Bray Wyatt, he wasn't even on the SummerSlam card. He wasn't even on the WrestleMania card. He constantly puts over everybody, and he's still over.
Well, technically, that's not true because he got squashed by The Rock. So, but he was still a part of the show.
He wasn't on the card.
Yeah, they could have done something else with him, and it just looked so horribly wrong.
All right, so I think Bray Wyatt needs this win more.
Yeah.
And I think they need to start thinking Bray Wyatt, future WWE World Champion.
Yeah,
and make that, like, put him over to where eventually he can go against, like, AJ Styles or whoever it is.
And the ruler of the universe.
Right, or even Dean Ambrose if Ambrose does happen to retain.
Or Ambrose joins the Wyatts.
But I think it's going to be kind of a dark match. I would not be surprised on this one to see the return of Luke Harper.
It would be the perfect opportunity. But since Wyatt already kicked Eric Rowan to the curb...
Well, he'll bring him back.
If not, but then they can also put Harper back with Rowan because they've always worked as a good, solid tag team.
Exactly.
And SmackDown needs another tag team.
I mean, actually, SmackDown has more tag teams than Raw does. With the Dudleys retiring, and they don't really use R-Truth or the Golden Truth. They don't really use superstars or shining stars that much.
They're using them now with Enzo and Cass.
Because they don't have anybody else.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, who else are they going to put them against the Golden Truth? You know. So, and they need to kind of, with all the extra people like the Jack Swaggers, the other people that aren't getting any airtime on Raw, other than superstars, they need to start making some tags out of them. But main event, Dean Ambrose defending the World Championship, or what are they calling it now? The
WWE World Title.
World Championship against AJ Styles.
Here are the odds from eWrestlingNews.com. Once again, AJ Styles under 160, Dean Ambrose over 120.
Does that mean AJ Styles is favored?
I would think so if I knew how to read betting.
I've read it
correctly.
before. It's like if you bet $100, I think you would get like, I don't know, a certain amount. I can't remember what it was. They explain it usually. And there's a link on those that it explains the betting odds. But part of me kind of thinks AJ Styles because I read that initially the plan was for the Universal title to be on SmackDown and AJ Styles was going to be the Universal Champion until the Roman Reigns thing went down and then the Finn Balor thing went down, which changed everything.
Yeah.
So that alone, and to me, Dean Ambrose's title reign has been underwhelming. I'm ready for the guy to put on some wrestling trunks, as opposed to those blue jeans and wife beater.
Yeah, it looks like he has the same outfit as Luke Harper.
Which, speaking of which, any word on the Roman Reigns boycott of the vest?
And it's a joke.
Of course it is. But I boycott the jeans and the wife beater. You look stupid wrestling in that.
So you're going to go to change.org and make a petition?
File a petition against
Yeah, Dean Ambrose needs to wear like some trunks or he needs to wear like some tights.
Don't y'all think like Renee Young is like so biased toward Dean Ambrose? Like she always picks him to win.
Well, they're dating.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, they're dating.
But even Daniel Bryan gave her a look the other night, like on Talking Smack, just like,
Yeah,
of course you think Ambrose is going to retain.
Yeah.
So, but I think AJ Styles is going to make Dean Ambrose look really good because that's what AJ Styles does.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so when the odds are in the positive, that's when people profit from it, I think, is what they're saying on this website.
So why would you bet on somebody in the negative?
I'm not sure. A negative number means the team is favored to win, while a positive number indicates that they are the underdog. So that kind of makes sense when you look at some of the odds for this. If eWrestling News will work! Because look at it, they have... from what it looks like now, if we're going by what they're saying, how to read the odds, with the negative ones being the favorite to win, then they have AJ Styles favored to win. Then for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Nikki Bella favored to win. And then Heath Slater and Rhino are favored to win.
To think how it goes is if you bet like 100 on AJ Styles, you would win $60. If you bet 100 on Dean Ambrose, you would win $220.
Something to that extent. So,
Bam.
and then they would have Randy Orton favored to win over Bray Wyatt, and then The Miz favored to win over Dolph Ziggler. So that's how the odds are rating from but this is on eWrestlingNews.com. So we're just going off what they have on
You
here.
should bet on like Naomi to win because she's 1,000.
I could see Naomi winning as a swerve.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the odds aren't in her favor. They're not even.
And then she
well,
could feud with Natalya, I mean, so I could see it happening, and they could just have 3 women feuds going on. I don't know.
Blue Jean Ambrose versus Goldust, Chris.
Blue Jean Ambrose. Which, that's actually a decent nickname for him, Blue Jean Ambrose.
Denim Ambrose.
Denim.
Ambrose, Dean Denim. Denim Ambrose. Yeah. So, that's Backlash. We've talked Raw. We've talked SmackDown. We've talked Clash of Champions. Mm-hmm. We talked about Paige quitting the WWE.
Yeah, because her hormones are so raging and stuff. I thought you had.
Oh, yeah.
Sense.
CM Punk.
CM Punk UFC fight.
Finally here, folks. CM Punk quit WWE Royal Rumble of 2013, which was in January, and so it's been 3.5 years now. We've been waiting on this UFC fight.
But for him to get his ass whooped.
Broke nose.
It's not going to happen. Not yet.
I'm sorry, I got no respect for the guy. He even dissolved his friendship with Colt Cabana because Colt Cabana went to Monday Night Raw and went backstage. What does that say about CM Punk and what kind of person he is?
He's the crybaby.
He's a jerk.
I mean, to a degree, I think CM Punk has kind of a point because Colt Cabana would have been on his side on the stand in that trial that they're in, and it makes CM Punk look bad whenever Colt Cabana goes to Raw and he's on CM Punk's defense team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just messing with CM Punk's money, pretty much.
Yeah, miss my money.
But CM Punk's got plenty of that.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I have some information for you. According to Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio, Cody Rhodes may be prohibited from actually using the Rhodes name outside of WWE now.
Yeah, he's going to be called Cody Rhodes.
No, he's going to be called Cody R. Recent evidence of this is on the Pro Wrestling Guerrillas Battle of Los Angeles DVD. His name is listed as just Cody R. Now, one of the possible reasons for this happening is that WWE could be upset with Rhodes' recent tweets attacking WWE for associating with ESPN and TMZ because before the incident, gentlemen, he was able to use the Rhodes names at recent events, but he can't anymore.
Right.
So it's just WWE. Now, for those of you who are thinking that Cody Rhodes actually has a legal standing to the Rhodes name, he doesn't. He was given the name when he got into WWE, so therefore it falls under WWE's copyright to do that. They can't do it to Dusty Rhodes because Dusty Rhodes owned the name when he was going into the company, so it's still Dusty Rhodes' name, but he cannot lay claim to Cody Rhodes. So that's why, if you're thinking, oh, Cody Rhodes should have legal right to his name, he doesn't. I'm sorry, but he doesn't. We know who he is. We know that he was formerly known as Cody Rhodes, but he cannot use the name outside of WWE anymore.
Yeah.
Did y'all watch any of the Cody Rhodes against Kurt Angle?
I wanted to, and I looked for it everywhere, and I couldn't find it.
I saw like the ending of it, and it was pretty good.
CM Punk will win Broskies. That's what Chris says.
Oh, there's
Broskies-
no doubt about it. Dana
Bros-
White's gonna make
And
sure
only,
of it.
only like douchebags use broskies.
Broski.
Broski. A home slice. Who the hell says
Yeah, that's what's his name? Zack Ryder, right there in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a sense.
So
Bro.
we've got 7 more minutes of air to kill.
Yeah.
Well, I do have another story to update. It's an update.
Give it to us, Billy.
An update from last week. If you remember when we talked about how the ESPN radio host
Ahmed
Ahmed Hassan was making jokes about.
Yeah, cool name there. Allah Akbar.
Well, El Hassan has said this on Twitter recently, quote, I tweeted a joke about wrestling earlier this week, and it was in poor taste. I sincerely apologize to Kevin Owens and his family. KO would respond by simply saying, quote, I win. My thoughts are this. At least he apologized, because some of those comments were completely distasteful, disrespectful, and completely unwarranted.
Yeah.
If those were jokes, they were in very, very poor taste, to say the least.
Yeah.
So at least he got on there, because not only was he making himself look bad, gentlemen, but on the same token,
ESPN.
he was making ESPN and ESPN Radio look bad. So one would figure that this apology was an order from ESPN and ESPN Radio, because when you represent yourself on social media and your brand, like El Hassan was doing, he was representing himself as part of ESPN and ESPN Radio. So when you make yourself look like an ass, you make ESPN and ESPN Radio look like an ass. So this was like a corporate order from El Hassan to apologize, which is why Kevin Owens said technically I win, and Kevin Owens is right when he said that.
Yep.
So it's going to be very interesting. I got to say, one thing I'm looking forward to, we had the Cruiserweight Classic tournament final coming up, which is going to be a live show. One of the matches that was announced, especially from NXT, on the NXT side of things, a rematch for the tag team titles between the Revival and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
Excellent.
And as good as their match was at TakeOver Brooklyn, this is going to be really something to look forward to.
Yeah. It's gonna be like the same match, but like this million times better.
And of course, we're getting closer and closer to the finals. I know that Grand Metalik has gone forward. Kota Ibushi has gone forward. I unfortunately didn't get the opportunity to watch it this week.
I did.
What were the results?
You got Chris Saber, who beat the Israeli guy. So the British guys
Zack Sabre, you
for
mean?
Zack Sabre. I'm sorry. And TJP.
TJ Perkins.
TJ Perkins beat Rich Swann.
Rich Swann. Wow.
Yep. So TJ Perkins
I
is going
thought
to
they
go
were going to
against
push him
Ibushi.
towards the final, to be honest.
And
So
what
it's
up-
going to be Ibushi against TJ Perkins, and it's going to be Metalik against Jack Gallagher. Well, not Jack. Zack Sabre.
And
But one of the guys from CWC got in trouble for tweeting racial.
I didn't hear about that.
neither have I. We're going to look into that story, and we'll have an update on that next week. Very quickly, what happened on NXT this week? TM61 took on Tony Nese and Araya Davari, if I'm saying that correctly. Hopefully.
That's
the TM61 would go over.
We're in the Cruiserweight Challenge, by the way.
The TM61 hit Thunder Valley on Davari to pick up the win. Then we had the debut of Leia Vaughn taking on Ember Moon, who's just really spectacular and impressing a lot of people, including yours truly.
Chris said NXT is better than SmackDown.
Well, to an extent, I have to agree with Chris.
Nah.
There's one out of though.
And Moon would end up getting the win again with that modified flying stunner. Then we had Andrade Cien Almas and Austin Aries. Solid match between these two guys. Aries would lock on the last chancery on Almas for the win. And then in the main event with Shinsuke Nakamura and Steve Cutler. Apparently they think Cutler is impressing people, me not so much. But they put him in a main event with Shinsuke Nakamura, your NXT champion. Samoa Joe was kind of really not Samoa Joe that we've come to accustomed to knowing. It was kind of like, I know this guy beat me. He's just like a little somber. on commentary. Really didn't talk very much. He just stood there looking at Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura, of course, went over with.
Maybe he's just licking his chops and like, I'm getting him.
With the Kinshasa on Cutler. I gotta say, up and down NXT, another good show, another good solid show in my personal opinion, and another reason to have the network.
Yeah, $9.99 are gonna be $11, man.
Or you can get the prepaid cards. You can get prepaid gift cards now.
At Wally World.
Which,
7-Eleven.
we got about a minute, fellas.
A minute. What it can do for a minute.
So that's it for this week's show, ladies and gentlemen. On next week's show, we're going to talk about what happened at Backlash and see if our predictions went through.
I think Brown show the show,
Yeah, and then of course with Clash of the Champions getting closer and closer, it's going to be really interesting to see how will they pan out. Will they play up any of the Triple H storyline with Seth Rollins leading into the Clash of the Champions pay-per-view? And of course with what they're going to do now with Roman Reigns and whether or not he will be working in the Universal Championship match, or will he be working with Rusev?
Or even with Chris Jericho, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. But if I was a betting man, I would say Rusev, because that storyline, again, we even said it earlier tonight, did not have a definitive end.
I agree.
Yeah.
So if anything, but you know what? Very quickly, to dispel that, I don't think we will be seeing them because of the fact that I'm just now remember reading a story that Rusev and Lana are in Dubai, India, on a 23-day honeymoon.
Ah, okay. So Clash of Champions, we won't see all the champions.
Rusev crush.
He's crushing more than one.
I would love to be crushing that Rusev. I'm envious.
Yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that.
So sports entertainment tonight. My name is Nick Fuquay.
Mark Trahan.
I am Double B Billy Boudreaux saying we'll see you next week right here on
Come back here.
And if you don't like that, we got 2 words for you.
Watch this. And we have nobody to close out the show.
Yeah, and if you are not down with that, we only got 1 word to describe you, and we're going to spell it out for you. S-A-W-F-T.
Soft.
Got here, a couple haters.
I'm a certified G.
And bye to everybody on YouTube.
Couple haters.